Now at 5, a warning about road conditions as we could get more wintry weather in the coming days. Plus, area warming centers provide shelter from the dangerously cold temperatures, and
Congress certifies the 2024 presidential election results. I'm Natalie Brand on Capitol Hill with a look at how the proceedings today stand in stark contrast with what happened here 4 years ago.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
it's going to get colder before we get a thaw of all this snow and ice. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. Let's go to meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney for our first look at the weather.
Well, a lot of the roads have started to clear, but we do have snow still on the edges of roads and on the grass, and that's going to continue because we don't see warmer temperatures until Wednesday. So roads, though, we have seen a lot of clearing, people out there clearing the roads, and just with the temperatures of the roads warming up, a lot of clearing. Now, Chanute, Iola, Mound City, Garnett, and Burlington, they got hit pretty hard, so they still have a lot of snow on those northern counties and still some ice. Now, with the melting of the snow as well, we're going to see a lot of refreezing at night because temperatures are dropping back down into below freezing and into the lower teens and even upper single digits. Now, most of the roads out in Missouri look pretty clear, especially in the Joplin area out to Springfield. We're looking clear for our area. Now, clouds are starting to clear as well. We've got a decently sunny day tomorrow and potential snowfall in the coming days later on this week, but I'll talk about that coming up.
See you soon, Lindsay. Thanks. You can get the latest road conditions and power outages across the area anytime through this QR code. It'll direct you to links on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, for that information for each of the 4 states in our viewing area. As the temperatures drop, you're bracing for more wintry weather and the threat of black ice possibly, AAA of Missouri is reminding drivers to take extra precautions when navigating icy roads. Use extreme condition when passing over bridges and overpasses, as they usually freeze first and melt last. Avoid using cruise control. Limit lane changes to reduce the risk of hitting black ice, and most importantly, slow down.
The concern is even with roads that might have been passable, for example, during the daytime, once that temperature drops in the evening, that's when you could see icy spots pop up. So drivers need to be extra aware of icy conditions on the roads.
Also, according to a report from Cars.com, four-wheel drive does not help your car slow down any faster, and it could still lose control when driving in icy weather. As the temperatures across the 4 states fall well below freezing, it becomes dangerous for those living on the streets or, of course, anyone without heat. Warming centers are opening their doors to offer a safe place to those who need one. Run by volunteers and donations, many of these warming centers are able to provide a place to sleep, a warm meal, and a shower.
We don't realize until you've been out there and been freezing and cold and without food, you don't realize the need. There's just a huge need for this type of ministry, and so that's what we're here for. We're here to meet that need.
Warming center hours vary. Tonight at 6, we're going to break down what specific donations 2 warming centers need while operating. We have a warming center lists in the 4 states, a list of those that are open or plan to open that's on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. We encourage people to call these locations to check on hours. You can also contact them to find out which ones are pet friendly. You'll also find information on donating or volunteering for each. If your organization has a warming center that should be added to this list, just email our digital content manager, Stacy Strader. Police in Aurora, Missouri averted what could have been a deadly situation. Authorities say a man entered the lobby of the Aurora Police and Fire Facility last night armed with a handgun, then placed the gun to his head, threatening to shoot himself. They say he also pointed the weapon at officers who were behind bullet-resistant glass and repeatedly asked to be shot. When officers refused, the man stormed out of the lobby, then returned without a gun. Police subdued him with a taser. No word yet on formal charges. 4 years to the day after a violent mob of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol and interrupted Congress as lawmakers gathered to certify Joe Biden's presidential win, Congress convened in a joint session, this time to certify Donald Trump's 2024 presidential election win. Natalie Brand reports from Washington, D.C.
The electoral ballot boxes made their way through the Capitol Monday as Congress convened to certify Donald Trump's 2024 presidential win. Vice President Kamala Harris, the candidate Trump defeated, presided over the joint session.
The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes.
It comes exactly 4 years after a mob of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol to try to stop the certification of Joe Biden's presidential victory.
I hope that some of them might feel a ping from it if they see me.
Washington, D.C. police officer Daniel Hodges, who was beaten in a doorway during the riot, attended today's session as a guest of Democratic Senator Adam Schiff.
It would be my honor to make it as uncomfortable as possible for the GOP members who try to whitewash that day and lie about what happened and pretend that we didn't save them.
Nearly 1,600 people have been charged for their roles in the January 6th attack, some carrying weapons like bear spray, knives, and flagpoles. Of those, 1,000 have pleaded guilty and 600 were charged with assaulting or resisting police. With President-elect Donald Trump set to take office in a few weeks, the federal election interference case against him has been dropped. On the eve of today's certification, supporters of January 6th defendants held their nightly vigil outside the Washington, D.C. jail.
It was not an insurrection. It was the people going to the Capitol to voice their opinion.
Trump has pledged pardons for the rioters, but he's yet to specify if it will be for all or just some. Critics warn that would undermine the criminal justice system and rule of law. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
While the outgoing U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C. says the department continues to pursue cases against those facing charges related to January 6th, defendants have been asking judges to pause their cases or delay proceedings ahead of Trump's inauguration. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced today that he's resigning his office as head of the country's Liberal Party. Trudeau, one of Canada's longest-serving prime ministers, said increasing discontent over his leadership and internal political battles led to his decision.
I care deeply about Canadians. I care deeply about this country, and I will always be motivated by what is in the best interest of Canadians. Despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralyzed for months after what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history.
The 53-year-old took office in 2015, upending 10 years of Conservative Party rule, but increasingly there have been calls for him to step down within his own party over the rising cost of food, a housing shortage, and a surge in immigration. Trudeau says he'll stay on as prime minister until a new head of the Liberal Party is chosen, which could take several months. Still ahead, saving money at the altar.
A twist on tradition as a couple ties the knot in a thrift shop on Leah, Michigan with their dream wedding that didn't break the bank.
But first, what you should know about a surge in winter illnesses. That's next in Health Watch.
State of Missouri, there is place of accident.
Topping today's Health Watch, after a relatively slow start to respiratory virus season, the U.S. is kicking off 2025 with a surge in several illnesses, flu, RSV, and COVID cases. Stephanie Stahl has the latest.
It's a new year, and we're starting 2025 with the same old respiratory viruses. 40 states, New York City and D.C., are reporting high or very high levels of flu activity, according to the latest CDC data. Emergency department visits for RSV and flu are very high and are increasing for COVID-19 from low levels nationally.
I thought it was a sinus infection. I had no idea.
Pam McLaughlin went to urgent care with postnasal drip and a strange burning sensation in her nose.
The doctor came, she said, I'm shaking my head because you got a double whammy. You have COVID and the flu.
Doctors say some people have built up immunities from previous infections and vaccinations, which can make symptoms milder. But there's also a growing number of people with serious complications.
And over the last week, it started reflecting in our hospitalizations and admissions, where it starts to become challenging to our staff.
Dr. Martin Topiel with Virtua Health says RSV, another respiratory illness, is also spiking. all the contagious infections probably related to holiday gatherings when people are in close contact.
Do you expect this increase to continue now post-holidays?
Yeah, I think the next 3 to 4 weeks may be very difficult.
He says infections are being spread quickly by many people who don't realize they're contagious.
Be careful, the slightest thing, just go get tested. It's better to be safer than sorry.
And doctors say it's not too late. Vaccines are still available for COVID and flu for everyone, RSV for people at high risk. I'm Stephanie Stahl, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Norovirus, the nasty stomach bug, is also spreading. 91 outbreaks were reported early in December. That's according to the CDC. Some nursing home patients with dementia might be taking trips to the hospital that are unnecessary and potentially harmful. A study from University of Missouri-Columbia found that residents with Alzheimer's or dementia were more likely to have avoidable transfers to the hospital than residents without dementia. Researchers say hospital transfers can confuse and stress residents who could instead be treated at home, but dementia might make it difficult for them to express their wishes. And a law intended to make medical test results more transparent for patients might instead be confusing and worrying them. University of Michigan researchers found that patients often see medical test results on electronic records before even their doctors have been able to look at them. But they found most patients had trouble understanding the information accurately because results aren't written with patients in mind. The authors advocate developing patient-centered pathology reports or talking to your doctor about what to look for in a report before you have a test. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, good news for millions of public sector retirees.
And we're also taking a look at possible upcoming snow later this week.
By limits, hello possibilities.
Well, we made it through our first big winter snow system that came through on Sunday. Taking a look outside Indigo Sky Casino and Resort yesterday. A lot of snow on the ground out there in Seneca, but today most of that snow, especially on the roads, has melted because of the pavement warming up. So not so bad that we still have a lot of snow, and as snow continues to melt, ice will freeze over later on in the next couple of days. So taking a look, clouds starting to clear. We don't have much else going on outside of a little bit of snowfall coming in later this week. So for the next couple of days, it's still going to be just cold, though temperatures tomorrow start to warm up. Upper 20s for our high, so still pretty cold, well below average for this time of year, but warmer than what we saw today. Wind chills in the morning, though, since temperatures are starting off in the low teens. Wind chills are going to be -5 to about 0 degrees. It's going to be pretty chilly to start off. Now, taking a look at our future fuels. So this is what our wind chill value is. About 1 degree in Joplin, -3 in Pittsburgh, -6 in Iola. So Yates Center, Iola, Fort Scott area still have some snow on the ground, so their wind chill values are going to be a little bit cooler than the rest of us. But further south we go, a little bit warmer as we move through the day. Now, Tuesday's highs, what we just saw in the upper 20s, but wind chill values still around the teens into the low 20s. So it's not so bad, but we are still going to deal with cooler temperatures all the way through Wednesday. A little bit warmer wind chills on Wednesday, 5 degrees in Joplin, -2 in Girard, -3 in Chanute, but about 8 in Anderson. Those actual temperatures are going to start to warm up by Thursday. So until then, we're seeing these cooler temperatures in the morning, low teens again on Wednesday, and then our highs for the day, mid-20s. We cool off a little bit. We've got a westerly breeze Wednesday, but by Thursday, we start to warm up. Overnight lows still in the teens, but the highs warm up to the upper 30s. We've got a pretty high jump up to the upper 30s, closer to average, but as you can see, Wichita out to Kansas City, wind shift line coming in, and that's bringing another round of snowfall. So let's take a look at our future track. Heading into Thursday morning, starting to see some clouds push in. A lot of our temperatures in the north are still going to be in the teens to lower 20s, but in the south, a little bit warmer. So as this system starts to move in, we're likely going to start off with a little bit of rain mixed with maybe some snow flurries. By 7 p.m., that's when it's really starting to push into our central counties, Parsons, Pittsburgh, and Joplin. Temperatures are starting to drop below freezing for our lows heading into Friday morning, and then we're switching over to mostly snow. Now, this system is going south of us right now. So we're getting maybe the top portion of it light dusting up in the northern counties, and then a little heavier snow central and southeastern counties. So by midnight on Friday, we're going to be mostly snow. Temperatures are dropping down below 28 degrees, and they're just going to continue to drop even further than that. By 7 a.m., we're going to start to see some snow flurries shifting off to the east, and then by 6 p.m. later that day, completely cleared out. So amount of snowfall, not a ton in our area as of right now. About 2 inches in Joplin, and then southeast a little bit up, a little bit higher, up to 3, maybe 4 inches, and then less than 1.5 inches in the central and northwest counties. So that's our next snowfall chance Thursday night into Friday. Temperatures do drop for Friday's highs, but we warm back up to the 30s, bounce around for the next week and a half before we start to see temperatures actually back at average following this week.
People need to be careful out there. Even
Definitely.
A little bit of snow can be slick.
Definitely.
Lindsay, thanks. A couple managed to have the wedding of their dreams on a budget. Their story is coming up. Topping today's Consumer Watch, more than 2 million retired teachers, firefighters, and other public sector retirees are set to get a bump in their Social Security benefits. This after President Joe Biden signed the Social Security Fairness Act into law. The measure eliminates 2 federal policies that had barred employees with a public pension from collecting their full benefits under the federal retirement program, and that reduced benefits for those workers' surviving spouses and family members. The President says millions will get a lump sum payment to make up for missed benefits in 2024, while the average monthly increase in payments is around $360. Tying the knot can be pricey, with the average cost of a wedding estimated to be $35,000. But one couple across the pond is proving you don't have to break the bank to have the wedding of your dreams. Leah Mishkin reports.
Found anything else exciting?
No. Newlyweds Nina and Stefan Pope have a shared passion.
Ooh, that one looks good.
Shopping secondhand. For nearly 20 years, they've furnished their English home with finds from their favorite thrift shop.
Oh my God, the cake stands are so gorgeous.
They even joked about getting married here one day when they first started dating. Turns out it wasn't such a bad idea.
These pillars here,
was the aisle?
Is the aisle.
Enlisting their friend who runs the store to be their wedding planner.
And the ideas just started coming.
She found inspiration all around her, using donated rugs to line the aisle. The bride and groom wore a secondhand dress and suit. Even their rings came from the shop. Used china and chairs catered to 150 guests.
They were the church pews that we had that were donated just the week before, so that was serendipitous.
And everything was, put together and put back within a day.
And the whole wedding cost just $250.
And that was only because I was like, ooh, we should get a bit of food.
Family and friends also wanted to help.
We must have had 15 wedding cakes.
It's just lovely because everyone feels invested.
Nina says unlike most brides, she had no expectations and no stress.
I walked in like, wow. That's what you want. It's your special day.
A day that proves tying the knot doesn't always have to come with a hefty price tag. Sometimes it just takes a little creativity, a lot of heart, and guests ready to pitch in. Leah Mishkin, CBS News, Mossley, England.
Nina and Stefan believe they're the first couple in the UK to get married in a thrift shop. A final check of the forecast up next.
Brought to you by AutoInjury.com and the law offices of Aaron Sachs and Associates.
Up next on the CBS Evening News, several states declare a state of emergency because of this wintry weather. We're going to hear what that means for flight schedules and power. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to talk with some local drivers about how they deal with the current road conditions. Plus, a group of volunteers offering rides to first responders. And we'll visit a couple of 4-state warming centers rising to the challenge of protecting people from the cold. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. It is going to be very cold again tonight.
Oh yeah, temperatures dropping down into the single digits and low teens tonight with wind chill values again in the single digits and below zero. The next couple of days, highs in the 20s and lows still in the teens. We warm up by Thursday, but we have another round of potential snow Thursday night and into Friday morning.
Hope people are careful out there in the meantime. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.